veterans.
Yeah, we'll be here.
How are you? Good, thank you. You came for the holiday celebration? Yeah. Oh,
So I thought I should come and represent the family. Anyways, I'm doing with my niece.
I'm going to take one of these books before they go away with the different things.
You know, I just recently made the English writing paper. The print was small.
It was hard to read, yeah, and fast.
Yeah,
I understand French. I can understand the French. I can understand a lot. But
she was here this year in Texas. So they've been doing a very small
Yeah. So shall I? Weird.
Yeah, they are a little. I think that. Yeah, sure. That's it. This is like an extension.
Right.
Movies.
Chaldeon Deneri, welcome everyone to the North American Basque Organization's presentation by Dr. Pedro Oyarzabal on the National Basque World War II Veterans Memorial that the North American Basque Organization has been working with Pedro these past 3-4 years, and Pedro has some very exciting updates. He was here 2 years ago presenting, and it's our great pleasure to welcome Dr. Pedro Oyarzabal, who's also the author of Gardeners of Identity, the Basques of San Francisco. Dr. Pedro Oyarzabal.
Thank you, Philip. Yeah, we are going to talk about World War II, so you have a chance now for an excuse of yourself going to the bathroom or having a cup of coffee or something. So you don't really need to be here if you do not want. Otherwise, we are going to lock the door. And it's going to be another 4 hours. This is going to be longer than the whole war. So, let's see. Well, you see, people walking. This is the typical. Yeah, but he's having a drink. Well. Shall I start? Yeah. Okay. Well, Eguardion Denari. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank the Basque Cultural Center for welcoming us today and for giving me the opportunity to speak here on such a special occasion. As you may know, today is St. Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine's Day to all of you. I like to think that being here is also an act of love. Love and respect for our World War II veterans. So thank you for being here and for sharing this moment with us. As Philip mentioned, my name is Pedro Oyarzabal, and I am one of the principal researchers of the project Fighting Basques, Memory of World War II, together with my colleague Guillermo Tabernilla. Today I will briefly share the results of more than a decade of research, and I will also present 2 important announcements: the city that will host the National Basque World War II Veterans Memorial and the conceptual design of that memorial. See? The Sancho de Biurco History Association was founded more than 27 years ago in the Basque Country as a non-profit association dedicated to studying the role of Basques in the Spanish Civil War and World War II. Since 2015, Sancho de Biurco has led the research project that just mentioned, Fighting Basques, Memory of World War II, under the umbrella of the North American Basque organizations. The goal has been to document the contribution of Basques and Basque Americans during World War II, a chapter that has been largely overlooked. Because military service was compulsory for men between the ages of 18 and 45, World War II allowed us to study an entire generation of Basque immigrants and their descendants, up to 2nd generation. Until now, most history books had barely mentioned their participation. To date, we have identified and verified more than 2,150 veterans of Basque origin who served in the US Armed Forces and the US Merchant Marine. Our research has covered all 50 states, Washington, D.C. and Puerto Rico, and we have completed more than 1,600 individual and family biographies. Our goal has never been just to identify names, but to preserve and share the personal stories behind those names. Over the past decade, this work has been shared through publications. You have plenty of articles we have published in Buber.net, euskalcultura.eus, media, public talks like this one, and exhibitions. We have also organized public ceremonies to honor these veterans. One of the most meaningful moments was the passage of the first resolution in US history recognizing Basque and Basque American World War II veterans, approved by the Texas House nearly 3 years ago. This map shows the geographic distribution of the 2,151 veterans of Basque origin identified so far. We have documented Basque veterans in 30 states, Washington, D.C. and Puerto Rico. Some were born in the United States, others in the 7 Basque provinces in Europe, and others in different Basque diaspora countries. Together, they represent a Basque presence in more than 60% of the United States, something that was previously unknown. Basque Americans are about 85% of all veterans identified. 77% were the children of immigrants, the rest grandchildren. More than 70% of these veterans were born in just 3 states, California, Idaho, and Nevada, which also remain the states with the largest Basque communities today. We have identified only 39 women veterans so far. We know that there were more, but finding the records is specifically difficult. This is an area where research is still ongoing. In addition to US-born veterans, we have identified 270 men and women born in the Basque Country, and 37 born in other diaspora countries. So there you have it: Argentina, Chile, Cuba, France, Germany, Mexico, Panama, Philippines, Spain, and the United Kingdom, who enlisted in the US Armed Forces during World War II. Together they represent approximately 14% of all Basque veterans we have identified. More than half of them were not yet US citizens at the time they enlisted. In my view, there is no greater collective contribution made by Basques from the old country, Basque born here and Basque from the diaspora, that they share their fight against tyranny and authoritarianism in defense of democracy. This is the Sorchiak Bat, the 8R1, at its very best. Their sacrifice and the sacrifice of their families must never be forgotten. Based on the data, the typical Basque GI Joe during World War II was a young man born in the rural American West to Basque immigrant parents. Many were Basque speakers or Euskaldunak. Most served in the US Army and were deployed overseas for long periods of time. Fortunately, many returned home. Thanks to the GI Bill, these veterans gained access to education, home ownership, and new economic opportunities. They enter the middle class and play a central role in rebuilding their lives after the war. They also become leaders in preserving Basque identity and culture, helping to found and strengthen Basque clubs throughout the United States. In many ways, they became the pillars of Basque American communities. As an example, 5 of the 9 members of the committee that organized the Western Basque Festival in Sparks, Nevada in 1959, the first main regional Basque festival in the country, were World War II veterans. This festival became a model for events like Hayaldi in Boise and many Basque picnics we still celebrate today. So you can have some of the World War II veterans there. You have Pete Echeverria, who was a US Army captain, Bronze Star. He was wounded in action in Okinawa. He was the chairman of the committee. John Asquaga, who was US Army, John Laxalt, the US Navy, Paul Laxalt, a US Army sergeant, and Pete Supera, who was in the US Army and then he went to Korea. Like Philip mentioned in the introduction, in 2023, 3 years ago, the North American Basque organizations created the Basques in World War II Special Committee, and in 2024 launched a fundraising campaign to complete the research and establish a physical memorial. The committee's mission is to honor the courage, sacrifice, and legacy of Basque men and women who served in the U.S. Armed Forces and the Merchant Marine during World War II, and to ensure that their stories are remembered and shared with future generations. The committee is made up of dedicated volunteers whose commitment and energy have been essential to this project. Christopher Bengoechea, Kate Camino, Jean-Pierre Echechuri, Mark Echeverry, John Richemendi, and our chair, Maggie Bertarech. Recently, Hugh Telleria from Oregon has joined the team as an external consultant in design and construction. For the past decade, the Fajitin Basques project has been funded entirely by the Sancho de Biurco History Association. 2 years ago, as I mentioned, Nabo launched a fundraising effort to help complete the research and move toward the creation of the National Basque World War II Veterans Memorial by the end of this year, which will mark the 85th anniversary of the US entering the war. Thanks to the generosity of many families and supporters, we have made significant progress. Since 2024, in this same room, we announced the launching of this fundraising. We have added more than 500 new veterans to the database, and the research is now nearing completion. However, we will continue to add new names until we are required to hand over the list so it can be engraved into the memorial wall. In early 2025, we began the process of selecting both a host city and an architect for the memorial. And now, I am honored to share with you the city that will host it. The National Basque World War II Veterans Memorial will be built in Garneyville, Nevada, at Heritage Park, located in the historic downtown. This area was once the heart of a vibrant Basque neighborhood, surrounded by boarding houses, hotels, and restaurants that served generations of Basque immigrants. For many of you, this place will feel familiar. In a word, home. Do you remember the Overland Hotel, the East Fork Hotel, the French Hotel of the Pyrenees? Heritage Park is just at the back of the Overland, and the JTs is about 3 minutes walk, as you can see on the image. The location is deeply meaningful. Rooted in a rich immigrant past, Garneyville has long continued to be an important center of Basque American life in Nevada. Founded in 1879, the town later became one of the state's most significant sheep raising hubs, sustained by a dense network of boarding houses, hotels, bars, restaurants that serve generations of Basque sheep herders and their families. Today, Garneyville remains home to an active and engaged Basque community. With just over 6,200 residents, the town represents nearly 2% of Nevada's Basque population and hosts the Mendiko Euskaldun Kluba. The town of Garneyville has also expressed its support for the memorial, recognizing its historical, cultural, and educational value for the community. And now, I would like to introduce the conceptual design of the memorial. The memorial's conceptual design is titled Bizileku, which roughly translates as place to live. It was created by Basque architect Maider Bezos Land. Built in corten steel, the design speaks to migration, settlement, and belonging. It reflects the experience of adopting a new homeland while maintaining deep cultural roots, a defining feature of the Basque American story. It is conceived as a symbolic home, one that brings together for the first time the names of all Basque World War II veterans from across the US, the homeland, and other diaspora countries in a single shared space, united in dignity and remembrance. The memorial is not intended to be just a list of names, but a living place of remembrance, one that honors individual lives, family histories, service, and sacrifice. In addition to the physical site, a digital memorial will allow visitors to access biographies, photographs, and educational materials, extending the memorial's reach far beyond Garnerville. The National Basque World War II Veterans Memorial will be a place for reflection, learning, and gratitude for Basques and non-Basques alike. As a community, we are creating a permanent national public space to remember, honor, and thank Basque veterans who proudly served during World War II. This memorial represents long overdue public recognition and connects individual family stories to our shared history, much like the National Monument to the Basque Sheepherder dedicated in Reno in 1989. Together, these two monuments will create a unique landscape of Basque memory, honor, and legacy in the American West, with a distance about 40 miles of each other. To make this memorial a reality, the fundraising goal is up to $500,000, an amount that will allow us to complete construction and ensure the long-term preservation of the site, as well as building and maintaining the digital memorial. This represents an estimated maximum cost, and we fully expect the final amount to be much lower. We are committed to carefully planning and negotiation to control costs without compromising the quality, integrity, and durability of the memorial or its digital component. But the project is not only about remembering the past. It's about how memory is carried forward through care, participation, and collective commitment, so that these stories remain present and meaningful for future generations. It is about keeping the memory and the values of this greatest generation alive. As the fundraising campaign continues, each contribution, large or small, helps transform memory into a lasting public space of recognition and gratitude. I would like to close with this thought. This memorial is not about stone, steel, or dates. It is about people, these people. It is about memory, responsibility, and gratitude. If what you have heard today resonates with you, I invite you to stay afterward, and I will be very happy to answer questions and hear your thoughts about where this project is heading. So thank you very much for being here today. I will be very happy to answer any questions you may have. Yes.
Do you know a date when that plaque will be installed or inaugurated in Garden?
We hope to do it before the end of this year.
There's
Before,
no date announced, huh?
no.
No,
No.
got it,
We have a date, even a time, but not yet.
got it.
Yeah. Yes.
Are you still actively like researching, taking down names of people?
Yes, as I mentioned, we will do that until we are being forced to hand the list, so the engravers can use it to engrave the names on the wall.
I have one for you.
Okay, very good. Yes,
Is your database, can we access your database to
No.
look at the names?
it's not. You can put, we have a searchable database that you need to put the name on, but the best thing is just write me. Okay, so it's much easier. So you can write me and say, do you have this name? In that way, we can communicate, because if we have it, we might ask you for a photograph of that individual if we don't have any. Because as I say earlier, we are building a digital memorial alongside. So whenever you go to this memorial and suddenly you have John Mayville, it will be great to have a QR code, and suddenly you go online and you have a photograph of him and a sort of story about his life in the military or otherwise. So it will be great that if you have names, no matter if you already have them in a website, you can probably send us more information about the individual that you are looking for. That's it?
Oh, I had a question, Pedro.
Yes.
Do you know what material is going to be used? Because in the image, it looks like it's pretty thin.
Well, this is just a rendering.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, right there, yeah.
This is just a rendering.
Okay.
This will be curtain steel. Curtain steel is curtain comes from the corrosion and the tension. It's a steel that was invented in the 1930s in the East Coast. Most of this material was used before for the fabrication of boats, ships, and for buildings. But you needed to paint over because it will rust. So it was very expensive. So the US steel industry will come up with this new material that it will rust to a certain point and then they will stop, and you won't need to maintain it. You won't need to paint it over. And you will create a patina forever. That material is very expensive, but will be all gone. Our children will be all gone, and our great-great-grand, the material will be there. Yeah, it's about preserving these people as is just transition. Yeah, so that's kind of material, but this is the conceptual. This is the conceptual design. But then we have to translate this into a technical, with all the figures and all the technical details for building this. This is just a conceptual design, so you understand what we are looking into. Basically, this is not just to contemplate something. This is something that you will walk in, and you will have. We have the pointer somewhere.
Yeah,
You see, you will have all these side seats here. And basically you are walking almost like in a living room where all the names will be there. And you can sit down and you can see all those names here. Then it's not very large. We are talking about having a space for 3,000. So just in case we can add more names, we can add it on the front part of the memorial. So this will be the whole thing. Then as we are working with the donors world, every single donation up to 1,000 it will go to a donors wall. Okay, so a donor wall will end up probably being built here, and we will have a front panel here with the details about the committee who has put this for honorary chairman and so on. But this is the main rendering, this is the main image of the memorial. So we have to make sure that this is thick enough for anything that happened. Yeah, but we don't know yet the estimated cost. We know about this figure up to $500,000, but it will be much lower because when we established this thing, when we created the design, it should fit all the cities that have bid for the memorial. So we have Boise, and we have Reno, and we have San Francisco, and we have Bakersfield, and Chino, and Garland. So we have to create a conceptual design, regardless of where we'll be. So we come up with this estimate, which will be reviewed once that we put this into the details with an architect and the structural engineers. But sorry about this. So think that in this case, there is an infrastructure in this heritage park. Okay, so you have parking space, sidewalks, there is lighting, there is running water. So all those costs, they are already come from our budget. And the city of Garnerville has donated to perpetuate the land. So we need just to come up about the size that we want this memorial to be. We are talking now, without going into much detail, talking with the architect, before talking to the architect, could be probably about 420 square feet, which is very small. I don't know, how big is your cancha?
Well, it's 36 meters.
Imagine, one third of that will be the wall, the memorial wall. So you could have probably a little bit of space, or you want to have a big plaza, depends of that. But think that not only that money comes for the building, also for the long-term maintenance. We know what happened with the bus ship herder monument in Reno, being vandalized, being abandoned, nobody had the monies. So we already thought about having a long-term maintenance with that. In that regard, already the bus club in Garnerville has pledged $1,000 per year just to do some kind of maintenance. The city will do another kind of maintenance, I'm sure. I mean, this is a very nice look at. I mean, the area has been looked after. There is a landscaping, all the gardening and all the lawn has been looked after. And there is trees, so there is gardener. So we probably saving money in that regard too. So bearing that in mind, we will probably have much lower cost than we anticipated. But building long-term maintenance and the digital memorial. We have about 1,600 biographies done. We need to heavily edit all those biographies, which will require a lot of time to edit it. So we have the information online that we really want. We do not need more information. So that will take time and labor. So we need to put that also as a cost of the overall memorial. The memorial, as I mentioned, is not only the physical aspect, it's also the digital one. So if you are looking for a friend, a family member, I'm sure that we will have some description then with a QR code or something. You can get it online and get the biographies and the photographs and all that. I think that will be nice. Then the city has already mentioned by the GTs, there is like, I don't know if in this area or in this area, there is a big planter. It's like 6 feet long, something like that. We will have that one with a sign, with information about the memorial, with our QR codes and website and all that. The club is very excited. The city is also very happy to have gotten the memorial. Like I say, I mean, this is going to be a beautiful dialogue between the Reno really, the monument talks about labor and migration from the Basques coming over to the US and particularly to the American West, and talk about a niche of work that they did for very, very, very long time, for decades and decades, and talks about the shipbuilding industry. And 40 miles away, you will have the second generation, the first one born in the country that went to work. So both of them, they will create a landscape of legacy and memory. And I think that will work perfectly also. If you've already been in Garnerville, you know Carson Valley is a beautiful place. It's a very touristic thing. It's very well attended. Garnerville picnic is very well attended. Always lots of people coming from different areas in California and Nevada. Normally they come over there. It's very central. You have 395. You can make a vacation visiting the memorial, and the city know it. And now they will have a memorial, which will be the first one about the World War II Basques in the United States. And think also about the significance of having a memorial of this sort. We are not only talking about just the Basques in the US. They are coming from 30 different states. So let's think about the dedication day. So you will have invitations sent to 30 states for governors or representatives of them, plus Washington DC and Puerto Rico. On top of that, you have all the homeland Basques. So you could have Basque institutions coming also for the dedication of the memorial. But then you have another 10 countries where Basques from those countries came to fight for the US. None of them were US citizens. So you have all those from Argentina to the Philippines, from Germany to the UK. Basques who already knew what was the suffering happening during the Spanish Civil War, and suddenly they came voluntarily and joined voluntarily the military here, and they fought for the US. Many of them never got US citizenship, which is something that we need to look into, the reasons why they never got into the military, into the citizenship. But so this is the whole idea about creating a memorial that will honor permanently these veterans. Yes.
Will this be in an enclosed area or is it open outdoor?
This is an open outdoor area. Yeah. This is an open outdoor area. This is very well, they use a lot this for a lot of community activities, particularly during the summer. This is a very, very nice area. This entire area, this is Heritage Parks, gardens. This is Heritage Park Gardens, and it's going to be under development, a new redevelopment happening, which is beautiful too. So this entire area is open. The memorial will be just about there. We don't know exactly, and we don't know exactly the size that we want. Besides these 400 something square feet, we probably need a larger area, particularly for special days probably. So we don't know yet, but I mean the land is there. So once that we have the technical study by the architect and put it forward to the city, we will know exactly about the permits and how they can move very quickly all this. I mean, We are not building a pyramid. I mean, this is something small. It's not the Basque Cultural Center. Yeah. So yes,
When you say 400 square feet, are you talking about the footprint or the size of the
the
wall?
footprint.
What's the size of the wall gonna be?
The wall will be about less than 6 feet tall and probably around 15 long, probably less than that. Yeah, it's about this room.
How do you, I have family that serve, how do I give you those names, because I'm not sure what,
Very good. Well, the best thing is just write me over there. Also, we just create these things too. So if you want to just take one or two or wherever you like and pass along, please. The best thing is just to write me.
yeah.
We have a searchable database on our website, but it's not up to date because we are building a new one. So we do not want to spend time or money on something that will be replaced in a couple of months or something like that. So the best way is just, if you have a family and you just want to make sure that it's there in the memorial, that's fine. Our local association is a history association, it's a non-profit organization like I mentioned earlier. Will donate every single name to Nabo for the memorial. So regardless if you are going to make any contribution, small or big, better big than small. And remember, it's tax deductible, which is always good in these days. They will have their names on the wall. Okay, we are not asking for any of you to give us money to put their names on it. Regardless if you give us a penny, their names will be there. That's it. We are not going to ask for that. But the construction costs money. I am a researcher, not a builder. So if it will be a builder, probably will do it myself. So, but I'm not. So, and we need a crew like the BCC people did 44 years ago. So this is the entire plan. If you have a family member, just send me an email and say, Pedro, just check this, you have it. And then we have the email. We can write you whenever we give you an update, a progress report of what is happening on the financial side and on the building side. And also the good thing about this is that you can provide with extra information on the veteran, particularly with photographs, because of the digital memorial will be nice to have a photograph instead of a blank space there. So it's always nice that you can find out. So yes, the two ladies over there, the young one and the younger one.
I'll go first. How did you pick the architect, or how did you choose them, or how did you find them?
Yeah, she's a lovely, I don't have any photograph of her, but let's go back to our, not one of those, definitely. Yeah, well, just network. We talked to different associations of architects, and we'll end up being directed towards somebody. We wanted something very specific. We want a new fresh view of a memorial. We didn't want to have a black granite flat memorial that's become very popular nowadays. That you just contemplate, you just look into this and say, okay, the names are there. Well, that's it. And so we found this young architect who has her own architect firm. This girl from the Basque Country, and we talked to her, and very quickly she started doing a little bit of research. Think that we are doing this on the making it is on the making for 10 years. So you already have envisioned something, and you already have done the research of what would you like to have, and what. So you just talk a lot with her, and she came up with a couple of renderings. This is the second one. The first one was nicer. I really enjoyed the first one, but by popular vote within our committee, we decided that this one will be the one. And obviously, it took a while to come up with this, a few months. It seems very simple, but there is lots of research going on before that. Basically, it is a welcoming space. It's not something that you look into this. It's something that you can walk into this. You can sit down and reflect about these people. And our goal was, the main focus was the names of them. There won't be nothing else but their names. The name of the memorial and the little branches of the military. That will be it. Then, most likely we will have, on the outside, we will have a small central panel telling who is being in charge of this and so on and so forth. And then we will have, probably in one of the sites, we will have a donor wall. So this is about a welcoming space. It's basically how we can get all these people who came from 10 different countries. They came from the old country in Europe. They came across the US together for the first time. Yeah, they fought individually, probably in separate units, separate regiments. All those Vascos, they fought in every single armed force, in every single military branch, in every single theater of operations. But for the first time, we wanted to bring them together, regardless. All Vascos together. So once that you are there, you can see the names of all of them. And they are united, and they are going back home in one place. That's the reason that this kind of roughly translate as the living place, the place that you will live again. Because this is, like I mentioned, it's not about the past. It's about how we create a present, but particularly how we can teach our next generations to appreciate these people and what they meant during that generation. They went through the Great Depression, they survived, then they went to war. Some of them didn't make it, others survived and came back home. And they were proud of saying, I am a proud Basque, but I am also American. And they came out of the closet, very proudly saying, we are Basque. And that's why they end up doing this first regional Basque festival ever, 1959. And then all those picnics and all those clubhouses that they were built. And if you look into the founding fathers of many of those clubs throughout the entire US, you will find these World War II veterans. They were not saying to say, I am Basque, also American. Nobody will ever say, you are not an American. They fought for this country. And then you have another hundreds of them that they didn't have even citizenship. They just came into the country fresh off the boat, and suddenly they were fighting in any single corner. Some of them didn't make it. So this is the intention behind that. This architect, very young, very bright. She's doing architectural work in Saudi Arabia right now. So it's a very young but very smart. So, and particularly she's a woman. And I wanted to have a complete different vision of, she studied hundreds and hundreds of memorials done for World War II, Korea and Vietnam. And then she just came up with something very simple. Something that we could probably enjoy and go there and never get tired of reflecting. And so this is just the footprint. Then you could have a larger plaza, a nice memorial plaza where you can sit down and stay there, enjoy, have a weekend out, And I think Garnerville is the right place. I feel that we last night we're talking about there are 3 brothers. Probably mentioned those guys, Leon, John, and William Echemendi. I don't know if you met the Echemendis, these 3 boys. They have a couple of sisters. The father who immigrated from Arnegi was Jean Echemendi. He lived up to 103 years old. He was active. He was one of the longest active bull buyer in the American West. He was very well known. At one point, he owns the Overland and the French Hotel and so on. That's where the boys were born. And they end up having military careers. 2 of them becomes lieutenant colonels and so on. They fought in Korea and Vietnam. They were the most condecorated servicemen in Nevada. Funny enough, they are going to come back home, just at the back of where they were born, in the hotel. The Overland Hotel was about here. That's where they were born, and suddenly they will come back home. And united with other brothers and sisters that probably never met. But they have, they fought for the same principles. So the idea of those values, carrying forward, democracy, things that we all take for granted, democratic values, things, rights, that we thought that will be engraved in stone and nobody will take them from us. Freedoms. Well, these guys were the first Antifa group ever. So those kind of values, they carry on forward. And those are the ones that we want to preserve for the next generations. So when we look into the memorial, we look into the past, but we're trying to project it into the future. When the children, the grandchildren, they will look and come up and say, look, this is the story of a small ethnic migrant community, very small. They were not the best and not the worst of anyone. They did what they had to do, and they did it well. And this is their stories. You have over 2,150 men and women who serve honorably for the US. And that's the story that we want to preserve. And this is a community thing. You are, never get tired of this, to say you are the best ambassadors for this project. It's not up to me or the committee of Nabo or even the Garnerville Bus Club or the city of Garnerville. It is about every single one of us. Talk to your friends, family, co-workers, employers, and tell them, you want to know something about a migrant community and what these people with a very heavy accent were doing for our country? Well, it is all up to us as a community come together because we own this. And I think that the best way will be to build this as a permanent memorial that will honor and thank them. That's all we are trying to do here. And this is a great thing for a legacy for our children and grandchildren. Yeah. Any other question?
I was wondering, you said it's going to be the names, but will it also have their dates and their place of birth?
No. For that you have a digital memorial. Particularly because of the space and price. Obviously, if we are lucky and we get a lot of money, well, we might rethink the size and the whole thing. But the way that this is done, it will be eye-size level. So you don't have to break your neck to read the names, and you don't have to break your back to read the names. So it will be just eye level, so it will be nice, with a big font. Look at me, I have glasses, so I'm not going to get better.
Yes.
Yeah, so it will be a nice font, a nice size. But no, I think that will be enough just to have the names. It's just complicated enough with Basque surnames. I will love to see the expression of the engraver when they start saying Malas Echevarria or Doki Handi, and the guy will say,
What?
yeah, probably will say, could be an Smith, is shorter, nice, but no, this is going to be fun, I guess. Yes.
Hey, so you may have said this already, but so when you find a name at the physical memorial, is there a website that if you put the name in, it'll expound upon the person?
No, well, probably there will be a technology that will do that, but no, we will probably have somewhere through that memorial plaza a QR code or the website or wherever we want to link it to.
So
then you will probably have a searchable database like some person mentioned earlier, and you get John Doe,
Yeah.
and then you will have John Doe's story is this, and this is a photograph, and this, and then will be built more educational sources. I think that this is just a memoria, but we wanted to link it with other stories.
Yeah.
With another networks, with other local museums, with other immigrant stories. So it will be an educational resource for the community. This is just an example. We are the Basque, but could be a great example for the Greeks, Portuguese, who knows? Well, not. I mean, the funny part is that we are in a small community and we could do that. I bet that the Italian Americans with 2 million people in World War II don't have something like this.
That's Camila.
Miss Camila.
Ah, sí. Anybody else? Okay.
All right, thanks, Pedro.
Well, thank you for coming. I know that it's a busy schedule today, but thank you for coming. And if you have names or things that you want me to check, I will be happy to do it right now. Otherwise, you can always send me a message and we can be in contact.